For today's daily devotional, I want to think about Lent. Lent is a word we use in church a lot. It's different than the lint you find in your dryer. Lent is from an Old English word that means spring, and it comes from the idea that during the springtime, as a lead-in to Easter, people would give extra attention to preparing for the resurrection, but also it was often a time to prepare people to be baptized, to do that last 40 days of intensive preparation before someone would make the commitment to be joined to the church in a life of following Jesus. I think about the ways we speak of spring and the things we associate with it. Spring cleaning is something that comes to mind. Spring training is another. And I think both, in a way, help us understand what Lent is about. Spring cleaning is a time when we give attention to maybe revisiting an area that has been neglected. Perhaps we pull things out and reorganize or discard. Maybe we just clean out so that we can make room to polish or to clean in some kind of deep cleaning way. It's a time to be attentive to that which has been not as much on the forefront of our minds or activities as it might have been. Spring training is something we think about with baseball particularly. This year it's starting a little bit later because the start of the season will be a little bit later for Major League Baseball. But I'm always interested that those grown men, those adults who have played that sport for years, sometimes for decades, still show up in Florida or Arizona, and they work on the basic skills, ground balls, pop-up flies, batting, pitching. They go back to the basics, the things they learned as 7-year-olds, still in my mind dressing like 7-year-olds with those pajamas they're playing baseball in. And they go down and do the very basics to get ready to play, so that by the time spring training is over, they're starting to play games that count, all leading up to the playoffs and World Series. Spring training, a time to give attention to the details so that we are ready for the big events that are ahead. To me, Lent is those things. It's spring cleaning. It's being attentive to what needs extra eyes and hands attended to, that we would give our time over to thinking about these things and to reflecting and doing these things. And spring training, that we would recognize that we sometimes need to go back to the basics, to wonder about, to learn about, to practice what it means to follow Jesus. To not take for granted that just because we've been doing it for a little while, we know what we need to know or are doing what we need to be doing. So I invite you to give extra attention this Lent. The series we will have on Wednesdays, led by our cabinet members, will be After the Ashes, a time of thinking about what happens now that we've been through Ash Wednesday. We've come out of that time of intense penitence and reflection. What next? What do we do as those who've given attention to this? And then on Sundays, the pastors will be leading us through a series called GPS, God Prepared a Savior. What is it about Jesus' preparation that actually helps us to think about how to be prepared? Jesus was being prepared and serving as a Savior, but we as His followers have things to prepare and do. So both of those, to me, reflect on spring cleaning and spring training and the meaning of Lent. I hope you'll join us tomorrow for our Ash Wednesday services and throughout Lent as we give extra attention to these matters. Have a great day.